day. And welcome to Economics N4, and we are doing the Thursday lesson. And maybe you should not be aware of all these little elastic bands that are coming around the COVID-19 masks, etc. So apt that we are doing this lecture today because we're going to do price elasticity. So with that in mind, let's see what is the objectives of this lecture today. It says there, define the price elasticity, understand why is it useful and how to calculate it. We're referring to page 30 in your textbooks, and after that we will then understand how to describe elasticities, the different graphs, etc., and understand what happens to elasticity along a linear downward sloping demand curve. And you'll find out that the downward sloping demand curve will visualize from the one top left corner to the right bottom corner. So understand the relationship between the price elasticity of demand and total revenue. So objective number one, the price elasticity, how can we define it? So if I put pressure on this elastic band and I stretch it, it will obviously have a reaction. This reaction we call responsiveness. So if I apply to the elastic band some power, that is the motion that we're doing. Now we're looking at economics. If we're going to adjust the price in a certain way, the demand will change. If I increase the price, the budget is stretched. If I increase the price, the budget is stretched, the demand will not be that good. If I decrease the price, and now it's nice and slack and there's a lot of room for improvement, I want to buy more. So from module 1 we learned that the law of demand is an increase in price will have a low demand or a decrease in demand, and decrease in price will have an increase in demand. So now today we're looking at how the price affects the demand. So first objective, define the price elasticity of demand and understand why it is useful. Price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness, the reaction of the quantity demanded to changes in price. So if you're going to look at demand curve, remember the downward slope, the demand curve number 1, at a specific price of, for example, 10 Rand of that demand curve, the quantity would be QA. If a price increases, and we're still looking at the D1 demand curve, if the price increases to $12, 12 rands, you'll find that that demand now has decreased from QA to Q1. If you look at the second demand curve, the red one there, that for price 10 will have then also QA, but as the price increase, looking at the red one, at that little point there, the QA will also drop to Q2. So, like I said, if you are going to increase your price, you are going to have a lower demand. So the demand that you are trying to get, the quantity that you are trying to get, is also determined by the price. If the price increase, the demand will drop. If the price decrease, the demand will also increase. So, there's an example. For example, consider the demand curve D1. If the price rises from $10 to $12, we know that the demand falls between Q1 and the QA. Okay, from QA to Q1, like I've indicated the previous one. I think we're clear about that I have explained. Let's look at the next one. So now The second objective is how to calculate this. How do we calculate this in economics? If the economist is coming to say that, okay, there was a 10% increase in price, how did it affect the demand? We need a calculation. So, all elasticity formulas may be stated as fractions or ratios or two percentage change values. The formula for the price elasticity of demand is as follows. The change in the quantity demanded divided by the quantity change of price, or the change in the price. So, price elasticity is, or the formula is, the change in quantity demanded divided by the change in price. That little triangle is what we do in formulas that we do not want to write the entire word out change, and we just say it is a triangle which equates to change. Next, how to calculate the price elasticity of demand. The elasticity demand formula always uses percentages. Why do we want to do this? So that the coefficient is not biased by units. We don't want to say, oh, 5% or 5 rand increase had a 2.3 quantity demanded. So we're not going to use units, we're going to try and use the percentages. Because of the law of demand, the sign of the price elasticity of the demand is always negative. Why? The inverse relationship. A price increase, demands drop. A price decrease, the demand increases. So with price elasticity for demand, the formula ends with a minus, or the absolute value that it will be a negative effect. Simply interpretation, we will use the absolute values of the price elasticity of demand, and so that the negative sign is then ignored. We don't want to talk about a decrease, increase, decrease, increase the entire time. So objective, how to calculate it, is like I've said, we know that price elasticity demand is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. For example, suppose quantity demanded increased by 12%. Immediately that's on top. When price rises by 6%, what is the price elasticity of the demand? 12 divided by 6 equals 2. So now what does this formula mean? The price elasticity equals 2. What does the 2 mean? Let's go back to elasticity demand and rearrange the formula. So we want to know how the change in demand, how the quantity demanded will change if the price elasticity is given, which is 2, compared to the price change. So rearrange it a little bit and we put it cross multiplying, and for the definition here then would be then for every 1% increase in price, quantity demanded falls 2%. Remember the inverse relationship? For every 1% increase in price will lead to a quantity demanded that falls with 2%. Are we clear about that? I hope so. These notes will also be emailed to each and every individual so that you can just recap. But you will also find it on page 31 right through to page 32 and 33 in your textbooks. Right. The next one, calculating the price elasticity of demand. Suppose when the price of a can of protein powder is $12, quantity demanded is 17 cans. When the price falls to $8, quantity demanded increase in 23 cans. I think that is clear. So now if you want to know the midpoint, we will also do a calculation, but it's not for your curriculum advisors, I've put it in, and that we can touch when we revise the section again. So I will go on again. Thank you very much, and we wait for part 2.